Hey everyone, my name is Josh and welcome back to your fourth stimulus package and news update. In today's video, we have a lot of news to get into, but first, if you would like to receive 1 free stock from Robinhood or 2 free stocks from Webull, make sure to go ahead and claim them by clicking my links, which you will find in the description box below. Okay, so here we are at the end of January with the Build Back Better bill nowhere near the finish line. Just last month, Democratic leaders had high hopes to pass the bill before Christmas, and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer even made that particular day as his deadline. But now, at the very least for Democrats, Joe Manchin said he's ready to restart negotiations on the bill, but that they would need to start from scratch. To that, the Biden administration said they would still like to pass large chunks of the overall package. Obviously, Joe Manchin nor Kyrsten Sinema will get on board with the entire package progressive Democrats want to pass, so the only question is, what will they get on board with? On Sunday, Senator Bernie Sanders joined CNN's State of the Union, where he talked about some of his frustrations.
Here we are 1 year into the Biden presidency. Those two key priorities are stalled in the Senate, the social spending bill and climate bill, the election reform legislation. It's because Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema won't get on board. How frustrated are you?
Well, it's not only those two, it is 50 Republicans who have been adamant not only in pushing an anti-democratic agenda, but also opposing our efforts to try to lower the cost of prescription drugs, trying to expand Medicare to include dental, hearing, and eyeglasses, to improve the disastrous situation in home health care, in child care, to address the existential threat of climate change. You got 50 Republicans who don't want to do anything except criticize the president. And then you have, sadly enough, 2 Democrats who choose to work with the Republicans rather than the president, and who have sabotaged the president's effort to address the needs of working families in this country. Is it frustrating? It sure is. But my view, Dana, is we need a new direction, a new approach in the Senate. I think after 6 months of negotiating, so-called negotiating behind closed doors with Senators Manchin and Senator Sinema, we need to start voting. We need to bring important pieces of legislation that impact the lives of working families right onto the floor of the Senate. And if the Republicans want to vote against lowering the cost of prescription drugs, climate change, home health care, whatever it may be, and if the Democrats, 2 Democrats want to join them, let the American people see what's happening. Then we can pick up the pieces and pass legislation.
So Sanders is frustrated with not only his Democratic colleagues, but also Republicans for not joining them on their agendas. So then Sanders was also asked about Build Back Better and how they hope to pass big chunks of the bill. Watch.
Okay, let's go back to the notion of how you're going to do what President Biden talked about, passing what he called big chunks of the social spending and climate plan. You say you want every senator to vote. Can you specifically talk about how you're going to, or you want to go about doing that? How can you get these things, not just to have political votes to show that Republicans are against it, but more importantly, how can you pass at least the bare minimum of what you think you can?
Well, I think Donna, what's most important is that the ideas that we are fighting for are enormously popular, enormously popular. 70, 80% of the American people want us to Medicare to negotiate prescription drug costs. People want to expand Medicare. People want to deal with the crisis of climate. So what we are talking about is what the American people want. And I think when you bring bills on the floor, we have allowed the Republicans to get away with murder. They haven't had to vote on anything. Now, if they want to vote against lowering the cost of prescription drugs, expanding Medicare, dealing with child care, dealing with housing, let them vote. And let Manchin and Sinema decide which side they are on. And when all of that shakes out, we'll see where we are. I have the feeling that we will be able to get 50 votes or more on some of these issues. We can put that piece together and then pass something that's very significant.
So if I'm understanding you right, you're saying put all of these policy initiatives on the Senate floor, let them get a vote, and let's be honest, they'll probably fail. And then once that happens, you'll craft legislation that can actually pass on specific parts of the Democratic agenda that have enough support?
Once that happens, Donna, we will know where we stand. I am not quite so sure that you're not going to get at least 50 votes to lower the cost of prescription drugs or to expand Medicaid or deal with climate. But once we know where people are at, then we can say, all right, look, we got 50 votes here, we got 51 votes here, 49 votes here, let's do it. But what has bothered me very much is the Republicans are laughing all the way to Election Day. They have not had to cast one bloody vote which shows us where they're at, and we've got to change that.
Is Senator Schumer, the majority leader, on board with this strategy that you're describing today?
Well, this is a discussion that we're going to have not only with Senator Schumer, but with the entire Democratic caucus. I think there is widespread understanding that what we have done for the last 6 months has failed from a policy point of view. It has failed politically. We need to change course. We need to have the courage to take on the Republicans and let Manchin and Sinema decide which side they are on.
So Sanders is basically saying they should put the entire bill on the floor and make each and every senator go on record with how they vote on these different issues. Of course, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer isn't going to have a floor vote unless he knows for sure that they have the 50 votes that he needs. Finally, Bernie Sanders is also confronted with some comments President Biden made last week where he said he wasn't Bernie Sanders and that he wasn't a socialist. Watch.
President Biden singled you out at his press conference this week when he was asked if he was governing too far to the left. Take a listen.
You guys have been trying to convince me that I am Bernie Sanders. I'm not. I like him, but I'm not Bernie Sanders. I'm not a socialist. I'm a mainstream Democrat, and I have been.
What was your reaction when you heard that?
Well, I'm not Joe Biden. I like him, but I'm not Joe Biden. I'm a progressive who believes that the Democratic Party should make it clear that we are prepared to take on powerful special interests like the drug companies, like the insurance companies, like the fossil fuel industry, that we have to demand that the wealthy start paying their fair share of taxes. So look, I think President Biden has done something quite unusual. He has taken a hard look at the problems facing the American people. He's brought forth legislation to try to address that, and I respect that. But obviously, we have our strong differences.
And what do you say to those who say that part of the reason why that you're stuck, as you just described, in process and policy is because Joe Biden is governing more like Bernie Sanders than Joe Biden, and that's not what the American people asked for?
Well, I would turn that around and say, how does it happen that the policies we are now fighting for are enormously popular? You know, CNN did some polling out there. Ask whether the American people think it's time to take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry. Ask whether we should be dealing with the existential threat of climate. Should we be building affordable housing? Should we be dealing with child care crisis? And the American people say, yeah, it's about time you did it. We're seeing the very richest people in this country, Dana, becoming incredibly richer during this pandemic, while tens of millions of American workers are struggling to make ends meet. The American people want us to have the courage to stand up to powerful special interests.
Senator,
that's what they want, and that's what we've got to do.
In some other news, tax filing season officially opens today, which means you can now go ahead and get a head start on your taxes. Other than the child tax credit, you can also claim the third relief payment from last year if you never ended up receiving it. Of course, with the IRS having an insane amount of backlogs at the moment, most Americans may have to wait several months to receive their tax refunds. So as usual, just like last year, we may need to have a little bit more patience than usual. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, if you would like to receive 1 free stock from Robinhood and 2 free stocks from Webull just for opening an account, make sure to go ahead and claim them by clicking my links, which you will find in the description box below. So once again, I do hope that everyone has a great and safe rest of their day. And per usual, I'll see you in the next video.